Hi everybody, this is Tom Passero with part 2 of the problem set 2 video instruction. As in part 1, we discussed and went through a sample problem from problem set 2 number 8 of the book, and now we're going to go back to the book and do problem set 2 number 10. And in this particular problem, we're going to apply what we've learned in the first video, and of course what you've read in chapter 8 with regards to freight classifications and rates. Now, in this particular problem, we have, directly from the book, Stanley Harris, traffic manager with this and that manufacturers. He wants to consider negotiating different types of freight rates. There's something called FAK, or freight all kinds, between shipments between Atlanta and Lansing. Now, he has 3 different types of product classes to ship, and obviously there's going to be a number of shipments at certain weights that he's considering. What I've done is put together a little table similar to the one that you have in your instructions for problem set 2, although it's like that problem, but different quantities and rates and classes. He has a class 65 product where he is going to be shipping 200 shipments of 5,000 pounds, a class 400 where he'll be making 40 shipments of 112 pounds each, and 30 shipments of class 100 product, and each shipment will be 10,000 pounds. Based on what he's been able to do with his shipper, he's able to receive a 45% discount on the published rates. Now, where does he get the published rates? Well, he gets them from over here in your National Motor Freight Classification. Specific rates between Atlanta, Georgia, and Lansing, Michigan. Okay? So what we need to do is fill in some blanks, calculate the discount for the rate that we got over here. We also have to figure out that wonderful CWT, the hundredweight, and then multiply the discounted rate times this 100 weight to come up with our freight charge. All right? Because what we want to eventually get is a total freight bill that we can compare, well, for Stanley Harris, that total bill versus a FAK, or freight all kinds rate, for shipments based on the total amount of poundage. But we got to do part A first, okay? So let's get into it. All right. Once again, we have to do a little matrix action. And we start off with class 65. Over here, class 65, right? So we go to the 65. And how much are we shipping? We're shipping 5,000 pounds. We don't care how many times we're shipping it right now. We just know that one shipment of class 65 is going to be worth 5,000 pounds. So we start out with a 65. We go all the way over here to where it says 5,000 pounds. And remember, this should read 49999, so this is 4999, I should say. So 5,000 pounds right here at 65 would be $13.84 per hundredweight. So we're just going to put in a $13.84. $13.84, okay? Now, if you remember, he gets a 45% discount. So if it's 45% discount, you simply do what? You subtract 0.45 from 1 to get 0.55 or 55%. So it's basically 45% of 100% is 55%. Or 0.55. And then you multiply these two together. So let's do that. I'll just do it in this Excel spreadsheet. our discounted rate is now $7.61. Okay, now do we multiply that times 5,000? No, we multiply it times the 100 weight. And if you remember, we get the 100 weight by doing what? We have to divide the shipment rate of 5,000 divided by 100. And when we do that, we come up with a 100 weight of 50. And the last thing we do is multiply that 100 weight times the discount rate, which would be this, or $380.60. Okay? So that's the discounted rate that Stanley is going to get for a Class 65 shipment of 5,000 pounds. All right, let's do the other two. We have a Class 400, so we go up here, of 1,200 pounds. So we're going to have to go past this, and we'll go over to here, and that's $118.58 per 100 weight. Got it? Because it's in between 1,000 and 2,000, and it's Class 400. So we'll just pop that number into here, 118.58. Okay, remember, we're getting a discounted rate, 45% off, so that's 55. So I'm just going to copy this here. And we have a new discounted rate of $65.22. What is our 100 weight? All right, and of course our 100 weight is our 1,200 divided by 100. Then that comes up to 12. 12 times $65.22. We're just going to copy this formula here. That should come up with $782.63. Okay, got me so far? Then our last shipment classification is 100. All right, so we go to 100, and we go all the way over here because it's a shipment of 10,000 pounds. So you have to go all the way over to here, and that rate is $14.73 per 100 weight. Put the $14.73 here. Excuse me. Do the old multiplication times the 0.55 to get the discounted rate, which will be $8.10. What happened there? And then we multiply that times the 100 weight, which is what? 10,000 divided by 100, which has to be 100 weight. And then we'll just copy this formula down to here, and we came up with what? $810.15. Okay? So, excuse me. These are the freight charges that we would incur for individual shipments at 5,000, at 1,200, at 10,000 pounds for these respective classes. Okay. Alrighty. Well, the next thing we want to do is get to our total freight bill. So what we're going to do is put in the per shipment rate charge for the for the Class 65 here, and we have that right here. I could just simply do that, or I'm just going to put it in again, 380.6. We have the Class 400 freight rate charge of 782.63. And then finally, the excuse me, Class 100 freight charge of $810.15. Okay. But obviously that's not the total charges. We have to extend this out by the number of shipments, because we have 200 shipments of Class 65 for this particular freight negotiation of 5,000 pounds each shipment. And that cost for one shipment of 5,000 pounds is $380.60. So we have to extend this out. And simply, we will, multiply 200 times this quantity, 76,120. We will multiply 40 shipments times this charge per shipment, which is 31,305. And then finally, we will have 30 shipments of Class 100 at this freight shipment rate charge, per shipment rate charge. And then we add these up. I have a at sum here somewhere. And we come up with $131,729.70 for the shipment charge. Okay? All right. So we've finished this first part of the problem. We know how much, based on a discounted rate, that this Stanley Harris is going to charge when he computes all these different shipments of these particular poundages of these particular product classes. So it's going to be $131,729,070. Okay, now, is that good or bad? In other words, is that better than the freight all kinds rate? Well, we have to figure that out. So I'm going to go skip over here, and we have to answer the question. Part B of the question 10, is should Mr. Harris accept a freight all kinds rate of $10 per hundredweight? Well, the first thing you got to do is figure out the total poundage, because in using the FAK rate, you got to figure out how much everything weighs. Okay? And to do that, for your class weight, we have to put in some numbers here. For Class 65, Class 400, and Class 100. Class 65, Class 400, and Class 100. Okay? For the Class 65, we have 200 shipments. For the Class 400, we have 40 shipments, and for the Class 100, we have 30 shipments. Okay, 200, 40, and 30. Okay, and we have to figure out how much weight there is per shipment. Well, we know that the Class 65 is 5,000, the Class 400 is 1,200, and the Class 100 is 10,000. So we'll just put those numbers in here. 5,000, 1,200, and 10,000. Okay? Now we have to figure out the total weight of each class shipment, which is simply multiplying the number of shipments times the weight of each shipment. Okay? And we're just going to extend that down. guess what we have? We have a total weight in pounds of all these shipments. Excuse me, a total of 270 shipments at these particular weights, 200 of 5,000, 40, 1,200, and 30, 10,000, of 1,348 pounds. Okay? All right. Are we done yet? No. Because what we have to do is figure out if this FAK rate is better than the rate we figured out back here. So in other words, we're trying to beat $131,729.70. If we can get under that, then maybe we do want to go with this FAK rate. Let's check it out. All right, the FAK rate is $10 per hundredweight. So do we multiply this times this number? No, we multiply this number times the hundredweight of this. And if you remember, all we have to do is take this number, 1,348,000, 1,348,000 pounds, divided by the 100 to get the hundredweight. And I already kind of put the calculation in, so this number times the $10 FAK rate is 134,800. Is it higher or lower than this rate? It is higher. So we do not want to consider the FAK rate. Mr. Harris is just fine and dandy with the negotiated rates with this discount that he was able to get. So 134,800, I should say, is greater than the discounted rate that he has. Okay? All right, so he'll stick with this. All right, your problem is very similar to this. Like I said, you gotta play around with these numbers, play around with finding the rates based on the tables 8.7 and 8.8. And write me if you have any questions, but hopefully this will provide you with good guidance for your problem set 2 assignment. Thanks a lot.